Hey everyone, I want to introduce you to another one of my favorite plants. And I just realized when I said another one of my favorite plants, I think they're all my favorite plants. I actually had a customer one day, I was showing her plants all around the garden center, and I used the word favorite plant, she said like 20 times. And she says, really, which one is your favorite plant? And it really got me thinking. I truly do love them all because each one is unique. And the more that you know about plants, the more that you'll find each individual's unique qualities. And it's kind of a rabbit hole that you can go down for your whole life. I got sucked into it over 20 years ago, and I'm still as interested and passionate about finding new plants and then taking care of the ones that I already have in my collection. A few years ago, one of our employees here, Mike Q, which you've probably seen in some of our pond videos, he's one of our pond designers, salesmen, and builders. He had in his collection a Stapelia gigantea that his father had given him. He had it growing in the ground, and I said, what the heck is that? And he couldn't remember the name off the top of his head, but then he did come up with it a few minutes later. He's like, it's a Stapelia, and it makes this really rad flower that's like bigger than your hand. It's like this size of like both your hands put together. It's got these crazy lines and speckles on it, and it attracts flies and all these things. Like, he was like totally stoked on this plant that his father had given him. Apparently his father had a very large patch of it growing down somewhere, I think in south central Florida, and Michael got cuttings from that, and then his had grown so large that Michael offered me some cuttings. So I don't have that one to show you now, but I do intend on showing you that here soon because it's in my private collection, and we are doing a series that you guys can check out about a day in the life here at Earthworks. And so we'll be spotlighting some of our employees' plants, and I have some of the gigantea in my collection that I want to show you. Now, when I order these, I don't always know the scientific names, because when I order from some of these giant greenhouses, they just say Stapelia assorted. Okay, so I'm doing some research now. These just came in a few days ago. I think this one might be Stapelia macrocarpa. I'm going to try to get that confirmed here, but I'm pretty sure that's what this was. I'm not sure what this one is yet, because this one resembles several other ones that look very similar, and really it could be hard for us to know until they actually flower, because each flower on these Stapelia is slightly different. So like the gigantea that I was talking about, the flower is like this big. This is the plant. And here is the flower. So cool. Now, technically, the Stapelias, and especially the gigantea, they make a bit of an odor. Now, when mine were flowering, I did not notice the odor at all. Although one day it was kind of warm, and I did put my nose in it, and I thought I kind of smelled something, but whatever the fragrance is, even though you might not be able to really smell it, and that's probably for the best, the flies smell it. And so in nature, it mimics the smell of decay, which attracts flies, which are the pollinators for this flower. So on the warm, sunny days when it was blooming, there were a lot of flies going toward it, which is super interesting. It was doing its job. It was attracting the flies. Now, some of you might be like, ooh, that's gross. But for a person like me, I wanted it to be pollinated, because if it gets pollinated with the two flowers, it can then make a seed for me, and I can grow them from seed, which is a lot of fun for a person who likes to collect some of these strange plants. However, the difficulty I had was I couldn't get two flowers to open simultaneously. It was so frustrating. So I had two different Stapelias. Both of them had buds on them, but not one of them would have two flowers open at the same time. I couldn't even get a flower on one and a flower on the other. They were staggered blooming, which was kind of cool because I had a really long period of blooming, but no two flowers were open at the same time. So I'm crossing my fingers this year that I'll have two flowers open at the same time so I can get some pollination going, so I can get some seeds to collect and grow some from seed. But here's the nice thing about the Stapelia, like many other succulents and cacti, is that they can be propagated from cuttings. So if you look closely inside of here, the growers put several cuttings in here inside of one pot. So you're actually getting multiple plants. At home, I have the gigantea. I've been taking cuttings from that. I'm hoping to bring some in this spring. They're already rooted in from last fall when I took the cuttings originally. But they're so easy to propagate and so easy to gift to make more of them. I have grown them in hanging baskets where these get heavy and they kind of trail over the edges. People here in Northeast Florida and in warmer regions will grow them on the ground as ground covers, like Michael was doing in Atlantic Beach here in our community. The other thing to keep in mind about Stapelia, they come from South Africa, from a very dry, arid part of the world. So the most difficult thing sometimes in Florida is getting them to dry out between the rains. So this is a type of plant that you can water it, let it go days, weeks, and maybe even a month or more without rain. It's a plant that really prefers to be left alone. Super easy, give it plenty of sunshine, and it will grow relatively quick to where you can make those propagation cuttings, or you can just allow it to grow and spread or hang inside a hanging basket. Come check out our Stapelia. We have a limited quantity. I got 60 of them in. Who knows how long they're gonna last. I'm definitely gonna be trying to keep them in as often as I can. If you have watched some of our other videos, you know it's been kind of a crazy year trying to keep things in stock because of all the demand for all these cool plants. Come check us out. Ask me questions. I love to talk about plants, and I'll see you soon.